We've heard a lot about rising sea levels and what that may mean for us. Lisa Beth Kovitz heads down to the Jersey Shore to learn more from engineers at the Stevens Institute of Technology.
Our changing world can be very confusing. Global warming, climate change, what does it all mean?
Let's try and sort it out. Global warming is the scientifically confirmed rise in average temperature worldwide, and climate change is how that warmer weather will affect individual communities.
Here in our section of the globe, one of the most significant elements of climate change is a continuing rise in sea level.
So, what exactly is sea level?
It's a simple question without really a simple answer.
Okay, so raise your hand if you thought sea level was measured by sticking a ruler in the ocean.
Turns out, sea level is an astronomical calculation.
Essentially what it means is over 19 years, the sun, the moon, and the earth take all the positions they possibly can with respect to one another. And so if we take an average over 19 years, it gives us sort of a true average.
And on average, sea levels are rising.
Are rising sea levels all about storms?
It's not all about storms, but it's going to be the major aspect that affects us in this local area. We're going to see storms coming up to northern locations in the world. It's going to cause storm surge, higher tides, and we're going to see that water coming into the landscape that we haven't seen before.
The flooding we see is terrifying enough, but rising sea levels can also contaminate our drinking water.
Yeah, I mean, we are starting to see salt water intruding into aquifers already, particularly in areas where we've withdrawn water for drinking and for other reasons, pulling that water down and then it's being replaced by salt water.
If you've ever taken a drink out of the ocean, you don't really enjoy that very much.
Here in New York City, most of our drinking water is safe upstate in aquifers.
But New Jersey's water problems could quickly become our own because New Jersey grows a lot of our food.
You know, we're called the Garden State for a reason. Where the two things we're famous for are pharmaceuticals and agriculture. I, for one, would like to see more farms and less pharmaceuticals, so.
There's no doubt that our region faces significant challenges as sea levels continue to rise.
But New York City is a tough place, and we've got a lot of good natural strengths on our side. For starters, New York City's got the schist.
Schist is a metamorphic rock that's already been subject to such high temperatures and pressure that salt water really isn't a problem for it. There's so much schist in Manhattan that we built our very own city college out of it. And even though we're made up of islands, a lot of New York City is actually on high ground. But not all of it. And a whole lot of our infrastructure, think subways, Con Ed, municipal tunnels, is underground.
But New York is New York, and our city is meeting the threat head on. The East Side Coastal Resiliency Program is set to break ground next year on the Big U.
The Big U is basically a giant levee built around the bottom of Manhattan.
On dry days, the levee will be covered with parks and bike paths, but underneath, it will be engineered to protect lower Manhattan from another storm the size of Sandy.
All of this is very political, and rising sea levels have put our New York and New Jersey scientists in new and complicated positions.
As an environmental scientist, how do you balance the dual responsibilities of raising the alarm and keeping people calm?
So you don't want to over extrapolate out what might happen, because if we do it too many times, we cry wolf, people stop listening.
I always say that I sort of have the easy job because I can deal with the science, I can deal with the physics and the, in some cases the chemistry and the biology and the engineering and what's going on, and so those processes are I would say are well understood or better understood. I feel a responsibility as a scientist to feed the information to those that can make these decisions. And I say sometimes I got my PhD down at Florida, University of Florida, but I get my PhD in political science just from working in New Jersey and trying to understand the way that the system works. I feel my responsibility is to tell the truth, the scientific truth, in the most easy to understand way that I can, and ensure that that's what's being used to guide decisions. Sounds really easy, but it's not.
Can we science our way through the oncoming troubles? There's no guarantee, but at least one local climate scientist is willing to bet her future on human engineering. I hear that you just bought a house that sits 5 feet above sea level. What were you thinking?
I ask myself this every single day as I'm looking at raising my house. There is a huge community at the Jersey Shore that you don't find anywhere else, or maybe you do, but once you're a part of it, you never want to leave there.
Do you think that we have the current engineering capacity to combat rising sea levels?
I think we do. I'm an engineer, so I'm biased. I always say that there's not a problem that we can't fix. Communities that are slow to react are going to drown slowly. And then the communities that are being more progressive and thinking outside of the box, making investments, those communities are going to be the ones that have a better chance at long-term survival and viability. They're difficult economic decisions to make sometimes, but I think the smart communities will start to think more long-term and plan for sea level rise.
From the Jersey Shore, this has been Lisa Beth Kovets for Science and You.